Have you ever felt completely forgotten by the people you love the most? Imagine being left alone in a cold freezer overnight, forgotten, scared, and unsure if anyone would find you. That was the moment I realized how deep the betrayal ran. But what happened next changed everything. My family's shock was nothing compared to mine when they discovered the secret I had kept hidden for years. My true fortune. This is not just a story about pain or loss. It is a story about finding strength when you think you have none left. It is about standing tall, even when the world turns its back on you. Before we jump back in, tell me where you are tuning in from. And if this story touches your heart, please subscribe, because tomorrow I have saved something truly special just for you. I live in a small town called Maplewood. It is quiet here, with tall trees lining the streets and birds singing in the morning. My house is an old, white wooden building with a blue door and a small garden in front. I have lived here for over 20 years. It feels safe and familiar. Every morning I wake up early, open the windows to let fresh air inside, and make a cup of tea. The steam rises slowly, and I watch the sun rise behind the trees. My name is Helen. I am 52 years old. I live alone now, but not always. For many years, I lived with my family. My husband John and my 2 children, Emily and Michael. We had a good life, or at least I thought so. We did not have much money, but we had love. I worked as a school librarian. I enjoyed helping children find books and learn new things. It was peaceful work. I liked my routine, and I liked the quiet moments when I could think. Every day was much the same. I would wake up, prepare breakfast, and get ready for work. John worked at the local factory. He was a kind man, but sometimes very tired. Emily was in high school, and Michael was still in middle school. They both had many friends and liked to play sports. Our home was full of noise and laughter when the children were younger. I loved those days, even when I was tired from work or cooking dinner. Now things are different. The children are grown and live far away in the city. John and I separated 3 years ago. We are not angry, but we are not together anymore. I see the children only on holidays or special occasions. Sometimes I feel very lonely in my house. The walls seem quieter and the rooms feel emptier, but I try to keep myself busy. I read books, take long walks, and sometimes visit the local cafe to meet friends. My life is simple but calm. I like this calm because it gives me time to think about what is important. I think about my past and the mistakes I made. I think about the future and what I want for myself. I want to be strong. I want to be happy. I want to learn to trust again. I also have my secrets. Not many people know about them. I keep my past carefully locked away, like a treasure chest hidden deep inside me. Sometimes I feel that this secret is the key to my future. It is a secret about my family and about me. But for now it stays quiet. Most days, I enjoy the little things. The smell of fresh bread from the bakery, the sound of children playing in the park, the soft colors of the sunset in the evening. I believe these small moments make life beautiful. I remember when the children were small, how they would run to the door after school, calling my name with big smiles on their faces. Those were happy times. I do not have many close friends, but I have a few. Susan is one of them. She lives 2 streets away. We meet every Friday afternoon for tea and talk about our lives. Susan listens carefully and always gives good advice. Sometimes I tell her about my fears and my hopes. She tells me to be brave and to believe in myself. At work, I am well liked. The children say I am kind and patient. I like to think that I make a small difference in their lives. Every day I see the joy on their faces when they find a new story or learn something new. It reminds me that life has many chapters, and we can always start a new page. Despite the calm, I feel a small restlessness inside me. It is like a quiet whisper telling me that something is about to change. I cannot explain it well, but I feel that my life will not stay the same forever. I do not know what will come, but I am ready to face it. For now, I hold on to my normal life. I enjoy the routine and the peace. I remember the good times and hope for better days. I keep my secrets safe and my heart open. I am Helen, a woman with a past and a future. This is my life, my story, and it is just beginning. It was a morning like many others. I woke up early as usual and opened the curtains to let the sunlight into my bedroom. The birds were singing and the sky was a soft blue. I made my tea and sat by the window, watching the small town come to life. Everything seemed peaceful, calm, and normal. But inside me, something felt strange. I could not explain it. I tried to ignore the feeling. I told myself that it was just my imagination. Sometimes when life is quiet, our mind creates small worries for no reason. I thought maybe I was just tired or lonely. I took a deep breath and sipped my tea, hoping the strange feeling would go away. Later that day, I went to the grocery store. I wanted to buy fresh vegetables for dinner. The store was busy with people chatting and children running around. As I walked through the aisles, I saw my neighbor, Mrs. Collins. She smiled and waved at me. I smiled back, but I noticed something. In her eyes, a look of concern or maybe sadness. It was quick, but I saw it. I wanted to ask her if everything was all right. But before I could say anything, she looked away and walked to another aisle. That small moment made the strange feeling inside me grow a little stronger. It was as if something was hidden beneath the surface, something that no one wanted to talk about. When I returned home, I found a small envelope on my kitchen table. It was plain, white, and had no name or address on it. My hands shook a little as I picked it up. I opened it slowly. Inside was a short note written in careful handwriting. Be careful. Not everything is as it seems. The message was simple, but heavy. I read it twice, hoping to understand more. Who had left this note? What did it mean? Why was I the one who received it? I felt a chill run down my spine. I looked around my quiet kitchen, feeling suddenly alone. I wanted to call Susan or my children, but I did not want to worry them. I needed to think clearly. I sat down and closed my eyes. I tried to remember if I had noticed anything unusual recently. Had someone acted differently? Had I missed a sign? I thought about John, Emily, and Michael. They all seemed fine the last time I saw them. But now, the note made me question everything. I decided to call Susan. Her voice was warm and calm on the other end of the line. I told her about the note and the strange feeling I had. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she sighed. Helen, sometimes life sends us warnings in unexpected ways. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, do not ignore it. Her words gave me a small comfort. I knew I could not ignore the feeling any longer. I had to pay attention to what was happening around me. That evening, I tried to focus on cooking dinner, but my mind was restless. The knife I used to chop vegetables felt heavy in my hand. The usual sounds of my house, the ticking clock, the hum of the refrigerator felt louder and sharper. I kept looking at the door, as if waiting for someone or something. Later, I sat by the window again, watching the stars appear in the night sky. I thought about my life, my family, and the secrets I kept hidden. What if the strange feeling was a sign that those secrets were about to come out? What if my past was reaching into my present? I felt both afraid and curious. Afraid because I did not want to lose what little peace I had left. Curious because I wanted to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. As I closed my eyes to sleep, I whispered to myself, I could feel something changing. The next days were filled with small moments that made me more uneasy. John called once but seemed distracted and hurried. Emily canceled her visit at the last minute. Michael did not answer his phone. When I tried to ask them why, their answers were short and cold. At work, things felt different too. Some of the children looked at me strangely, as if they knew something I did not. My coworkers seemed distant. Even Susan seemed worried, but she did not tell me why. Everywhere I went, the strange feeling followed me like a shadow. It was there in the silence and in the noise. It was there in the smiles that did not reach the eyes. I could no longer pretend that everything was fine. I realized that my life was about to change. Something hidden in the quiet was ready to come out. And I did not know if I was ready to face it, but I knew one thing for sure. I could feel something changing. The strange feeling did not leave me. Instead, it grew stronger with each passing day. I found myself feeling confused and lost. My mind was full of questions, but I could not find clear answers. It was as if I was walking in a fog, unable to see the path ahead. I tried to understand what was happening around me. Sometimes people said things that did not make sense. At other times, they avoided my questions or changed the subject quickly. I began to wonder if I was imagining things, or if there was really something wrong. At home, the silence was heavy. The rooms that once felt warm and full of memories now seemed cold and empty. I would sit in my favorite chair, holding a cup of tea, and stare at the walls. My thoughts raced, but I could not find peace. I remembered the note I had found. The warning was still in my mind. Be careful. Not everything is as it seems. Those words echoed over and over. I wished I knew who had sent the note. Was it a friend trying to help? Or someone who wanted to scare me? Every time I thought about it, my heart beat faster. I felt a mix of fear and curiosity. I wanted to know the truth, but I was afraid of what I might discover. What if my family was hiding something from me? What if they did not care for me as much as I believed? I tried to talk to John. When we spoke on the phone, his voice sounded tired and distant. He said everything was fine but did not give me many details. I felt a cold distance growing between us, like a wall I could not climb. Emily and Michael also seemed different. They were busy with their lives, but I could sense something was not right. When I asked about their plans or visits, their answers were short and sometimes sharp. It hurt me, but I tried not to show it. I began to feel very alone. Even Susan, my closest friend, seemed worried but did not say much. Sometimes she would look at me with sad eyes and change the subject quickly. I wondered if she knew more then. She was telling me my confusion made it hard to focus at work. I loved being a librarian, but now I found it difficult to enjoy the quiet moments with the children. My thoughts kept drifting to my family and the secret I felt closing in on me. At night, I could not sleep well. My mind was full of restless thoughts. I would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to calm my racing heart. Sometimes, tears came quietly. I felt lost and unsure of what to do. One evening, I found myself standing by the window, watching the rain fall softly on the garden. The drops made small circles in the puddles, and the wind whispered through the trees. It was a sad, quiet night. I thought about all the years I had spent loving and caring for my family. I wondered if they truly cared for me now. Had I been wrong to trust them? Was I blind to the truth? The confusion in my heart made me want to give up. I felt small and weak, like a leaf in a storm. But deep inside, a small voice told me not to lose hope. It whispered that I had the strength to find the truth and to face whatever was coming. I knew I had to be careful with my feelings. I did not want to make mistakes or hurt myself more. I decided to write in my journal. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and calm my mind. I wrote about my fears, my hopes, and my questions. In my journal, I asked myself, who can I trust? What is really happening? And most important, who am I if my family does not stand with me? The answers were not clear, but writing made me feel a little stronger. It was a small step toward understanding. As the days passed, the confusion stayed, but I learned to live with it. I tried to focus on small joys, the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of sunlight, the kindness of strangers. These moments reminded me that life is still beautiful, even when it is hard. I also promised myself to be patient. The truth would come in time. I had to wait and watch carefully. I had to listen to my heart and trust my instincts. Sometimes, I caught myself smiling at small things, a bird singing outside, a child's laughter, a kind word from a stranger. These moments gave me hope that better days were ahead. Even though I was confused, I was not ready to give up. I was still Helen, a woman with a story and a heart full of courage. I knew the journey would be difficult, but I was ready to face it. I closed my journal and looked out the window one last time before going to bed. The night was calm, and the stars were shining softly. I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, I will find the truth. I will be strong. And with that promise, I closed my eyes and waited for the new day. Trust is a delicate thing. It is something that builds slowly over time, like a small plant growing toward the sunlight. But once broken, it can be very hard to repair. I wanted to trust John, I really did. He was my son after all. We had shared so many years, so many memories. Yet, lately, things had changed between us. That made it very difficult to believe in him. When I saw him at the family dinner, I looked into his eyes, searching for the warmth and kindness I had known. For a moment, I thought I found it. His smile was gentle, and his voice soft. He asked how I was feeling and if I needed anything. His words were caring, and I wanted to believe they were true. I told myself that maybe this was the turning point. Maybe the strange feelings I had were just misunderstandings. Maybe John was trying to show me that he cared. I wanted to believe it with all my heart. During that evening, I watched him closely. I noticed the way he tried to make conversation and include me in the talks. It reminded me of the times when we used to laugh together and share stories. Those memories gave me hope. I wanted to hold on to those good times and forget the coldness that had come between us. After dinner, John stayed behind to help me clean the dishes. We worked quietly side by side, and the kitchen felt warm again. I wanted to say something important, but the words stuck in my throat. Instead, I simply smiled and thanked him for being there. When he left that night, I felt a strange mixture of happiness and doubt. I wanted to trust him, but a small voice inside me whispered that things might not be so simple. I knew I had to be careful with my heart. The next few days were full of small moments where John tried to show kindness. He called to check on me and sent messages asking about my day. Sometimes, I would catch him looking at me with concern. Those moments made me feel like maybe, just maybe, he wanted to repair what was broken. But then, there were times when he seemed distant again. His eyes would avoid mine, and his words would become short and cold. I could not understand why he behaved this way. It confused me even more. I realized that trust was not something that could be forced. It had to come naturally. I could not pretend everything was fine when my heart was full of questions. But at the same time, I did not want to give up on the relationship with my son. One afternoon, I invited John to my home for tea. I wanted to have a quiet conversation, away from the distractions. When he arrived, I prepared his favorite tea and sat down with him at the kitchen table. I looked at him and said, "John, I want to trust you. I want us to be close again. But I need to understand what is happening. Can you please be honest with me?" He looked down for a moment, then met my eyes. There was a sadness in his expression, but also something else, fear, maybe, or guilt. He took a deep breath and said, "Mom, I do care about you. I always have. But there are things I cannot say yet. Please believe me when I say I am trying." His words were soft but clear. I wanted to believe him. I nodded slowly and reached out to take his hand. It felt warm and familiar. We sat in silence for a few minutes, each lost in our own thoughts. I wanted to reach out more, to ask the questions that were still in my heart. But I knew that sometimes healing takes time. Sometimes people need space to find their own way. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about our conversation. I felt a small spark of hope. Maybe trust could grow again, slowly and carefully. Maybe we could find our way back to each other. At the same time, I promised myself to stay strong and watch carefully. Trust was precious, and I could not give it blindly. I had to listen to my heart but also protect it. I knew that the road ahead would be difficult. There would be moments of joy and moments of pain, but I was ready to try. I wanted to believe in the love that had once held our family. Together. As I closed my eyes, I whispered softly, "I want to trust him." And with that hope, I waited for what would come next. The quiet hope I had felt was suddenly shaken. One afternoon, I received a phone call that made my heart skip a beat. It was from Susan, my closest friend since childhood. Her voice sounded serious and filled with concern. "Helen, I need to tell you something important," she said. "Please listen carefully." I could feel the weight of her words before she even spoke them. Susan told me she had heard things about my family, things that did not make sense to me. She said people were talking quietly, sharing rumors that made her worry. She did not want to upset me, but she felt I should know. At first, I wanted to deny it. I wanted to believe that nothing was wrong. But Susan's voice was calm and honest, and I knew she would not lie to me. I told her to say everything she had heard. Susan said that there were plans being made behind my back. She did not know all the details, but she was sure it was something that could hurt me deeply. She warned me to be careful, to watch closely, and to trust my instincts. Her words echoed in my mind long after the call ended. I felt a cold wave of fear mixed with sadness. I wanted to believe in my family, but now I was not so sure. The warning had planted a seed of doubt in my heart. I sat quietly in my living room, staring out the window at the gray sky.
The wind
Blew softly, moving the branches of the old oak tree. The world outside seemed calm, but inside my mind was in turmoil. What if Susan was right? What if there was something I did not know? I felt trapped between hope and fear. I wanted to hold on to the good memories, but I could not ignore the warning. That evening, I thought about calling John. I wanted to ask him directly, to hear his voice, and maybe find comfort. But something held me back. I was afraid of what I might learn. I was afraid that asking too many questions would push him further away. Instead, I decided to be quiet and watch. I would listen carefully to what others said and did. I would pay attention to the small signs that might tell me the truth. Days passed and the feeling of unease grew. I noticed how family members spoke in whispers when they thought I was not listening. I saw the looks they gave each other, quick glances full of secrets. It was like I was standing outside a closed door, trying to see inside. One afternoon, I overheard a conversation between Michael and Emily. They spoke about money, property, and decisions that seemed to exclude me. Their voices were low, but I caught enough words to understand that something was happening without my knowledge. My heart ached. I had always believed that family meant trust and honesty. But now it felt like I was being pushed aside. I remembered Susan's warning again. She had told me to be careful and to trust my feelings. I realized that my feelings were telling me something important. I could not ignore the warning. That night, I wrote in my journal. I described my fears and the strange behavior I had seen. Writing helped me to make sense of the confusion inside me. I promised myself to stay strong and to keep looking for the truth. The next morning, I felt a small sense of courage. I knew I had to face whatever was coming. I had to find out the truth for myself, no matter how painful it might be. I decided to visit Susan in person. I needed to talk with her face to face and ask for more details. Susan welcomed me with a warm hug, and we sat together in her cozy kitchen. She told me more about what she had heard. There were talks of selling the family home, dividing assets, and making decisions without consulting me. Susan's eyes filled with tears as she spoke. She said she was afraid for me but did not know how to help. I felt a deep sadness mixed with anger. How could they do this to me? How could they plan such things without telling me? But even in that sadness, I found a spark of strength. I knew I could not let fear control me. I had to be brave and protect myself. Before I left Susan's house, she took my hand and said, "Helen, you are stronger than you think. Do not let anyone take away your peace." Her words stayed with me as I walked home. I felt a quiet determination growing inside me. The warning had shaken me, but it had also opened my eyes. I was ready to face the challenges ahead. I would watch, listen, and wait for the right moment. I would not let the pain break me. As I opened the door to my home, I took a deep breath and whispered, "I will be careful. I will be strong." And with that promise, I stepped inside, ready to face whatever the future held. After Susan's warning, my mind was filled with questions and doubts. I tried hard to push those thoughts away. I told myself that everything would be fine, that I was imagining problems where there were none. Sometimes, ignoring difficult feelings seemed like the easiest choice. I went about my daily routine, hoping that the strange feelings would disappear. I cooked meals, watered the plants, and tidied the house. I focused on small tasks to keep my mind busy. But even in those moments, I could not fully forget the warning Susan had given me. Every time the phone rang, I hoped it would be John calling with kind words. But sometimes, the silence that followed only made me feel more alone. I wanted to believe that my family cared, but I could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. I told myself, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am just tired or lonely. I wanted to believe that love and trust would bring us back together without conflict. So I tried to ignore the signs. One morning, I looked out of the window and saw the sun shining brightly. The birds were singing and the flowers bloomed in my garden. The world seemed calm and beautiful. I thought, why should I let fear take away my peace? I will not let it. I tried to live each day as normally as possible. I made tea and sat by the window, reading old letters from John when he was a child. Those letters reminded me of happier times. I smiled softly, remembering his laughter and the warmth of his hugs. But even as I tried to focus on good memories, a small voice inside me kept whispering doubts. It was hard to silence that voice. It grew louder when I was alone and quiet. One afternoon, I received an invitation to a family gathering. Everyone was going to meet at Michael's house. I was hesitant to go, but I did not want to seem distant or cold. I told myself it was a chance to rebuild connections. At the gathering, I smiled and greeted my family warmly. I listened carefully to their conversations and tried to join in, but I noticed the subtle looks they gave each other. Sometimes, they spoke in hushed tones when I approached. I tried to ignore those moments and focus on the joy of being together. We shared stories, laughed at old memories, and ate a simple meal. For a while, it felt like the family I had known. But later that night, when I was alone in my room, the old fears returned. I wondered if they were planning to exclude me. I thought about Susan's warning and wondered if I was making a mistake. By trying to ignore it, I realized that ignoring the problem was like covering a crack in a wall. It might hide the damage for a time, but it would not fix the problem. The crack could grow worse without attention. Even so, I still hoped that time would heal the wounds. I believed that if I showed kindness and patience, things would get better. I told myself to trust the love that once held us together. One evening, John came to visit me. He seemed tired and sad. We talked quietly, and I tried to be gentle. I wanted to believe his words when he said he cared, but as the night went on, I noticed small signs that something was not right. His eyes avoided mine, and his answers were short. It made me feel confused and hurt. I wanted to ask questions, but I was afraid of the answers. I wanted to trust him, but my heart was heavy with doubt. I decided to stay silent and wait. In the days that followed, I found comfort in small moments. I watched the sunset, feeling the colors change in the sky. I listened to the soft music of the rain. Those peaceful moments helped me breathe through the uncertainty. I also started writing in my journal again. I wrote about my feelings, my fears, and my hopes. Writing was like talking to a friend who would listen without judgment. Sometimes I wrote about the past, about the happy times before the distance grew between us. Those memories made me smile and gave me strength. Other times I wrote about the present, about the pain of feeling forgotten and the fear of losing my family. Writing helped me accept those feelings instead of hiding from them. Even though I tried to ignore the warning, I knew deep down that I could not run away from the truth forever. I needed to face it when the time was right. For now, I promised myself to be patient. I would live in the moment and find peace where I could. I would care for myself and hold on to hope. Ignoring the warning was not the answer, but sometimes it was the only way I could survive the pain. I whispered softly to myself, I will be ready when the truth comes. And with that quiet promise, I closed my eyes and let the gentle night surround me. It is strange how much a look can say without a single word. Over the past few days, I have noticed the way John looks at me. It is different now, something I cannot easily describe. There is a heaviness in his eyes, mixed with something else. Sometimes it is confusion. Other times, there is a flicker of regret. But mostly, it feels like distance. When I see him, his gaze often falls quickly away. He does not meet my eyes as he used to. There was a time when his eyes would sparkle with warmth and love. Now, they seem tired, guarded, and sometimes even cold. One afternoon, we sat together in the living room. The sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting soft shadows on the floor. I looked at him, hoping for a smile or a kind word. Instead, he stared out of the window, his face unreadable. I wanted to reach out to touch his hand, but I hesitated. I felt a strange mix of longing and fear. I wanted to understand what he was thinking, but I also did not want to hear words that could hurt. The way he looks at me has become a puzzle. It is as if he carries a secret, something he cannot share. I have tried to imagine what it could be. Is he angry? Is he disappointed? Or is he simply tired of the distance that has grown between us? One evening I caught him glancing at me from across the room. His eyes met mine for a brief moment, then quickly looked away. I felt a sudden pang in my chest. That look held so much emotion, pain, sorrow, and maybe a silent apology. I asked myself if he feels as lost as I do. If he remembers the love we shared and wishes things could be different. I wanted to believe that beneath the distance, there is still a spark waiting to be rekindled, but the truth is, I cannot know for sure. The way he looks at me is a silent language, full of meanings I can only guess. It makes me feel fragile. As if I am standing on the edge of a fragile bridge, not sure if it will hold sometimes. I wonder if he even notices how his looks affect me. Does he realize that when he avoids my eyes, it feels like rejection? Or when his gaze is filled with sadness, it breaks my heart a little more. I have tried to tell myself to be strong, to remember that actions speak louder than looks. But human eyes are honest in a way words often are not. They reveal feelings that are hidden deep inside. I remember a time when his eyes told me he was proud and happy. When he looked at me, I felt safe and loved. Now I search for those eyes in a sea of uncertainty. One day I decided to ask him about it. I chose a quiet moment when the house was still and the evening light was soft. I looked into his eyes and said, "John, how do you really feel about me? About us?" He hesitated. His eyes looked away, then back again. For a moment I thought he would speak the truth. But then he said softly, "I do not know." Those words hurt more than I expected. To hear him say he does not know was like standing in a fog with no clear path forward. I wanted to ask more, to understand why he was so unsure. But I also sensed that pushing him would only push him further away. The way he looks at me has become a silent conversation. It speaks of confusion, of memories, of pain. It tells a story that is not easy to hear. I have learned to listen carefully to those looks, even when they bring sadness. Because they are the only way I can see inside his heart right now. In the days that followed, I watched him closely. I noticed the small moments when his eyes softened. When he looked at me with a hint of the man I once knew, those moments gave me hope. Hope that beneath the walls we have built, there is still a connection waiting to heal. But I also know that hope alone is not enough. The way he looks at me is a reminder that there are things left unsaid, feelings left unspoken, and wounds that still need time to heal. Sometimes, I wonder if he feels the same pain that I do. If he longs for the past or fears the future. If he sees me as a stranger or still as the woman he once loved. I do not have the answers. But I have learned to live with the uncertainty. To accept that some things can only be understood with time. Now, I will continue to watch the way he looks at me. To see the stories his eyes tell. And to wait for the moment when those looks can be filled with love again, because in those silent moments, I still see the man I love. The tension between John and me had grown heavier every day. The way he looked at me, the silence between us, and the unspoken questions made my heart ache. I knew I needed answers. I could not live in this quiet confusion any longer. So I decided to ask him the truth. One evening after dinner, we sat in the living room. The soft light from the lamp cast a warm glow around us, but the air felt cold. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. My hands were trembling slightly, but my voice was firm. "John," I said gently, "I need to know. Please tell me the truth."
He looked at me for a moment, his eyes searching mine. Then he looked away. I could see the struggle inside him.
He wanted to say something, but the words seemed to get stuck. "Please," I repeated softly. "I cannot live like this, not knowing." There was a long pause. Then John finally spoke, his voice low and hesitant. "It is complicated, Mary," he said. "There are things I have not told you. Things I thought would protect you, but maybe they only caused more pain." I nodded, encouraging him to continue. I wanted to understand. I needed to hear the truth, no matter how painful it might be. John took a deep breath and began to speak. He told me about the problems he had been hiding. The financial troubles, the debts, and the mistakes he had made. He told me about the stress he was under, and how he had felt ashamed to share these burdens with me. As he spoke, tears filled my eyes. I felt a mixture of sadness, anger, and compassion. It was hard to hear that the man I loved had been carrying such a heavy load alone. I should have told you, John said, his voice breaking. I wanted to protect you. I did not want you to worry. But John, I said softly, we are a family. We face problems together. You did not need to carry everything by yourself.
He looked at me then, his eyes filled with regret.
I know that now. I was wrong. For the first time in weeks, we talked openly. I asked questions and he answered honestly. We shared our fears, our hopes, and our dreams. It was not easy, but it felt like a beginning. After our conversation, I felt a small weight lift from my heart. The silence between us was no longer filled with uncertainty but with understanding. It was not a perfect moment, but it was real. That night, I lay in bed thinking about what John had said. I realized that asking for the truth was the hardest thing I had done in a long time. But it was also the bravest. I understood that trust must be earned and rebuilt, step by step. It is not given freely when it is broken. It takes patience, honesty, and courage. In the days that followed, John and I made a promise to each other. We would try to be more open, to share our feelings, and to face challenges together. It was not a magic fix, but it was a start. I also knew that healing takes time. There would be moments of doubt and pain. But now, at least, we were walking the same path. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering if the truth will be enough. If the cracks in our relationship can be repaired. But I choose to hope. Hope because we spoke honestly. Hope because we faced the pain together. Hope because love is worth fighting for. One afternoon, John surprised me by helping in the garden. We planted flowers side by side, laughing quietly as we worked. It was a simple moment, but it felt like a small victory. I realized that truth is not just about words. It is about actions too. Showing up, being present, and trying even when it is hard. I am learning that asking for the truth is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward strength. It means facing reality, no matter how uncomfortable. I want to tell you, dear listener, that it is okay to ask for the truth in your own life. It may be scary, but it can bring clarity and healing. Do not be afraid to speak your heart. You deserve honesty and respect. John and I still have a long way to go. Our story is not finished. But I believe that by asking the truth, I took the first step toward finding peace. I am proud of that moment. Proud of my courage to face the unknown. Because sometimes, the truth is the light we need to find our way out of the darkness. And with that light, there is hope for a new beginning. After my conversation with John, my mind did not find peace. Instead, it became a whirlwind of thoughts that would not stop. I tried to focus on simple tasks, but my thoughts kept pulling me back to the same questions and worries. The truth we spoke together opened a door, but it also left many feelings unsettled inside me. I lay awake many nights, staring at the ceiling. The quiet of the night made my thoughts louder. I thought about what John had said, the debts, the secrets, the fear in his voice. I wondered how long he had been hiding all of this from me. How many nights had he suffered alone? My heart ached. Because I loved him. But the pain came from the silence that had grown between us over time. The silence that kept us from sharing our fears and hopes. It felt like we had been living in two different worlds. I could not stop thinking about what our future would look like. Would we be able to fix what was broken? Or was this the beginning of the end? The uncertainty was heavy on my chest. At work, I found it difficult to concentrate. I kept replaying our conversation in my mind. Every word, every pause, every glance. I wondered if I had missed something. If there were more truths still hidden. I tried to tell myself to focus on the present, but the past and future pulled at me. I remembered happier times, when John and I laughed together and dreamed of growing old side by side. Those memories felt distant now. The more I thought, the more I felt alone. Even though John was in the next room, it felt like we were strangers. I wanted to reach out, but the fear of rejection stopped me. sometimes I questioned myself. Was I too trusting, too hopeful? Should I protect my heart and keep my distance? But every time I thought that, my love for John brought me back. I found myself watching him closely, looking for signs of change, for moments when his eyes softened. But the uncertainty stayed. One afternoon, I took a walk alone. The fresh air helped clear my mind for a little while. I watched the trees sway in the gentle wind. Their branches moved slowly but surely, no matter what. I thought about how life must be like those trees, sometimes bending, sometimes still but always moving forward. I realized that my thoughts were a part of my healing. They were the way my heart and mind tried to make sense of the pain. I could not stop thinking, but maybe I did not need to. I needed to let my thoughts be, to listen to them without judgment, to understand that it is okay to feel lost sometimes. I decided to write in my journal. Putting my thoughts on paper helped me release some of the weight I carried inside. I wrote about my fears, my hopes, and my dreams. I wrote about John, about us, and about myself. Writing was a small step toward peace. It reminded me that I am more than my worries, that I have strength even when I feel weak. At night, when my thoughts raced, I tried a simple breathing exercise. Inhale slowly, hold, exhale gently, repeat. It was not a cure, but it helped calm my mind enough to sleep. I also talked to a close friend. Sharing my feelings aloud made them less frightening. My friend listened without judgment and offered words of comfort. It was a reminder that I was not alone in this struggle. I know that overthinking can be a trap. It can make problems feel bigger than they are. But sometimes it is also a way to prepare for what is coming. I am learning to balance my thoughts, to acknowledge them, but not let them control me. To hold hope even when mind whispers doubt. I want to tell you, dear listener, that if you find yourself trapped in your thoughts, you are not alone. It is a common human experience. The mind can be both a friend and a challenge. Be gentle with yourself. Find ways to release your worries, whether through writing, talking, walking, or simply breathing. Remember, thinking is part of healing. But it does not have to stop your heart from feeling peace. John and I have much work ahead. Our journey is not simple. But with each thought, each feeling, I am one step closer to understanding and acceptance. I believe that someday these restless nights will give way to quiet mornings filled with hope. For now, I will continue to listen to my thoughts, but I will not let them silence my heart, because even in the storm of my mind, I know there is a calm place waiting for me. The days after my sleepless nights were heavy with a quiet pain that settled deep inside me. It was not loud or sharp, but constant and lingering. This pain was different from anger or sadness. It was softer, more like a dull ache that stayed. Even when I tried to smile, I found myself sitting by the window, watching the rain fall outside. The droplets slid down the glass slowly, as if they had all the time in the world. I wondered if they felt the same way I did, slow, tired, and full of quiet sorrow. The rain matched my mood perfectly. It was a comfort and a reminder that sometimes life moves slowly, even when it is hard. I did not want to talk much during those days. Words felt heavy and awkward. My heart was full, but it was hard to find the right way to share it. John tried to reach out, but I could see the pain in his eyes too. He was waiting for me to be ready, but I was not sure when that would be. Sometimes we sat together in silence. No one said anything, but the silence was filled with so much meaning. It was like an invisible wall between us, built from all the things left unsaid. I cried quietly in the nights. Not loud tears, but slow ones that came from the deepest part of my soul. The kind of crying that is cleansing, even when it feels painful. One night, I wrapped myself in a warm blanket and held a cup of tea. The warmth helped soothe the ache inside me. I thought about how pain can be a teacher, showing us what matters most. I thought about my family, how much I had loved and trusted them. How the feeling of betrayal cut deeper than any wound. But even in the pain, I felt a small spark. A hope that this quiet suffering was not the end of my story. That somehow, I would find a way through. I remembered a phrase from a book I once read. The wound is the place where the light enters you. It gave me comfort to think that my pain could lead to healing. In those quiet moments, I started to reflect on myself. Who was I beneath the hurt? What did I want for my life? What kind of woman did I want to become? The questions were difficult, but important. They helped me focus on growth, not just grief. I realized that healing is not about forgetting or pretending the pain does not exist. It is about accepting it, sitting with it, and slowly learning to live with it. Sometimes I would write in my journal about the quiet pain. I gave it a name and a space in my heart. Naming my feelings made them less scary. I also found small joys to hold on to. A good book, a walk in the park, the sound of birds in the morning. These simple moments reminded me that life still held beauty. Friends checked on me often. Their kindness was a balm to my wounded heart. I allowed myself to lean on them a little, even when I felt weak. One afternoon, as I watched the rain again, John came to sit beside me. He did not say anything at first. We just watched the droplets together. Then he took my hand gently and said, "I am sorry for the pain I caused. I want to make things right." His words were not magic, but they mattered. They were a sign that he was willing to try. I looked at him and felt the quiet pain mix with a small hope. Healing would not be fast or easy. It would take time and effort from both of us, but I was ready to try. To open my heart a little more. To allow love and forgiveness to grow. The quiet pain was still there, but it felt less like a prison and more like a step on the path. I want to tell you, dear listener, that if you feel this kind of quiet pain, you are not alone. It is okay to feel it, to sit with it, to let it be part of your journey. Healing does not mean rushing or forcing yourself to feel better. It means being patient and kind to yourself. Pain is a sign that you have loved deeply and that you are still human. Remember, even the quietest pain can open the way to strength and hope. I hold on to this truth as I move forward, one gentle step at a time. The quiet pain inside me grew heavier with each passing day. I realized that I could no longer live with uncertainty. I needed an answer. I needed to know the truth, no matter how hard it might be. It was time to face John and ask the questions that had been weighing on my heart. One evening, I found him sitting in the living room, reading a book. The soft light from the lamp made his face gentle, but I could see a shadow of worry in his eyes. I took a deep breath and sat down beside him. "John," I said slowly, "I cannot keep living like this. I need to know everything. I need the truth." He looked at me quietly, and for a moment he said nothing. Then he closed the book and took my hands in his. "I understand," he whispered. "You deserve to know." I felt a mixture of fear and relief. Fear because the truth might hurt me even more. Relief because I was no longer alone in this. John began to speak. He told me about the problems he had been hiding. The debts that grew larger than he expected. The mistakes he had made. The nights he spent worrying about how to fix everything. His voice trembled at times. I could see how much pain he felt inside. It was not just my pain. It was his too. I listened carefully, trying not to interrupt. Each word was heavy, but I needed to hear it all. When he finished, there was silence between us. I wanted to speak, but the words felt stuck in my throat. Finally, I found my voice. "John, why did you not tell me sooner? Why did you carry this burden alone?" He looked down and said, "I was afraid. Afraid of disappointing you. Afraid of losing your trust." I reached out and touched his cheek gently. "I am here now. We can face this together. But only if you are honest with me." He nodded slowly. "I want to be honest. I want to make things right." We sat quietly for a while. The weight of our conversation still hung in the air. But something had shifted. A small door had opened between us. That night, I did not sleep well. My mind was full of thoughts and questions. But I also felt a new determination. I realized that healing begins with honesty. The next day, I made a plan. I wanted to understand everything clearly so we could work together to solve our problems. I asked John to show me the bills, the debts, and the papers. We went through them one by one. It was difficult, but it was also a relief to face the truth. We talked about what we could do next, about the changes we needed to make. About the support we would need. It was not easy. There were disagreements and moments of frustration. But we kept talking because we both wanted to find a way forward. I learned that needing answers is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you care deeply and want to protect what is important. I also learned that sometimes answers bring pain, but they also bring clarity. They allow you to stop guessing and start healing. I want to tell you, dear listener, that if you are waiting for answers, do not be afraid to ask. Your feelings deserve to be heard. Your heart deserves the truth. It is okay to feel scared. It is okay to feel uncertain. But do not let those feelings stop you from seeking what you need. Remember, honesty is the foundation of trust. Without it, relationships cannot grow. I do not know what the future holds for John and me. But I know that by asking for answers, I took the first step toward healing. If you are in a place of doubt, take a deep breath. Gather your courage. Speak your truth. You are stronger than you think. The truth came slowly, like the first light of dawn breaking through a long, dark night. After all the waiting, all the questions, I finally understood what had happened between us. The pieces that did not fit before began to form a clear picture. John had been keeping secrets. Not because he wanted to hurt me, but because he was afraid. Afraid of disappointing me. Afraid that if I knew the whole story, I would leave him. At first, the feeling of betrayal was overwhelming. It was as if the ground beneath me had cracked open. I felt lost and alone in a sea of confusion. How could someone I loved so deeply hide such important things from me? But as I listened to John's explanations and saw the regret in his eyes, my heart softened. I began to understand that his silence was not a sign of weakness or disrespect. It was a sign of fear and shame. I thought about all the times he had looked away when I asked simple questions. All the moments when his smile seemed forced.
Now,
those moments made sense. Understanding does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that the pain disappears. But it changes the way you see things. For me, understanding was the first step toward healing. It gave me the strength to face the situation clearly, without anger clouding my judgment. I realized that people are not perfect. We all make mistakes. Sometimes we hide from the truth because we are scared of losing what we love. This understanding helped me to forgive. Not only John, but also myself. I forgave myself for trusting blindly, for hoping too much, and for feeling hurt. It was not easy. Forgiveness took time and many quiet moments of reflection. I asked myself what I truly wanted. Was it to hold on to anger, or was it to find peace? I chose peace. With this new understanding, I began to see John in a different light. I saw his efforts to fix what was broken, his willingness to be honest now, his hope for a better future. We talked more openly than ever before. Our conversations were sometimes difficult, but they were honest. We shared our fears and dreams. We made plans for how to rebuild trust. I also started to rebuild trust in myself. I trusted my ability to make good decisions. I trusted my heart to guide me wisely. One day, as we sat together, John reached for my hand. His eyes were full of hope and apology. "I never wanted to hurt you," he said softly. "I only wanted to protect us." "I understand now," I replied. "But we cannot protect each other if we hide the truth." We smiled at each other. A small but important moment. It was a sign that we were moving forward. To my dear listener, if you are struggling to understand a difficult situation, remember this. Understanding can be your light in the darkness. It is okay to feel confused and hurt. It is okay to ask questions and seek the truth. When you finally understand, you will find the strength to heal. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is powerful. It frees your heart from the weight of pain and allows love to grow again. Take your time. Be gentle with yourself. Healing is a journey, not a race. Remember, understanding changes everything. It opens the door to peace and hope. I hold this truth close as I continue my story. It is the moment when I began to see beyond the pain and toward a future filled with possibility. Understanding the truth was one thing. Acting on it was another. After many long conversations and sleepless nights, I made a difficult decision. I needed to walk away. Walking away was not about giving up. It was about protecting myself. It was about finding the space I needed to heal and to think clearly. I knew that staying where I was would only keep the pain alive. I packed a small bag quietly one morning. I did not want to make a big scene. The house felt heavy, filled with memories and silence. Each step I took was slow, careful, as if I was leaving behind more than just walls. John did not try to stop me. He watched quietly, his face a mixture of sadness and understanding. I could see the pain in his eyes, but I also saw respect. Respect for my choice. Outside, the air was fresh. The sunlight warmed my face, and I took a deep breath. It was the first breath of freedom I had taken in a long time. I found a small apartment nearby. It was simple, but it was mine. A place where I could be alone with my thoughts, where I could start to put the pieces of my life back together. The first days were hard. Loneliness wrapped around me like a thick blanket. I missed John, even though I knew this was the right choice. I missed the life we had dreamed of, but I also felt a quiet strength growing inside me. I began to remember who I was before the pain. I started to care for myself again. I cooked my favorite meals, I read books that made me smile, and I took walks in the park. Walking away gave me time to think about what I wanted for my future. I realized that healing was not about forgetting. It was about learning to live with the past without letting it control me. I wrote in my journal every night. I wrote about my feelings, my fears, and my hopes. Writing helped me understand myself better. It helped me see that walking away was not an end. It was a new beginning. I also reached out to friends. I had been distant for a while, but now I wanted to connect. Their kindness and support reminded me that I was not alone. One day, I received a letter from John. He wrote about his regrets and his hopes for us. Reading his words brought tears, but it also brought peace. We both needed time, space, and healing. To my dear listener, if you ever find yourself in a place where walking away seems impossible, remember this: walking away can be a powerful act of self-love. It is okay to put yourself first. It is okay to seek space to heal. You do not have to stay where you feel broken. Walking away is not weakness. It is courage. Sometimes stepping back is the only way to move forward. I do not know what the future holds for John and me, but I know that this time apart is necessary. It is a time to grow, to reflect, and to heal. If you are struggling with a difficult decision, listen to your heart. Trust yourself. You have the strength to choose what is best for you. Remember, you deserve peace, happiness, and respect. Sometimes you have to walk away to find them. As I close this chapter of my story, I feel a quiet hope. Walking away was not easy, but it was the beginning of my journey back to myself. Walking away was a beginning, but it did not erase the pain. In fact, the pain stayed with me like a quiet shadow. It followed me into my small apartment, into my quiet nights, and even into my dreams. I had hoped that distance would heal the hurt faster, but healing is not so simple. Some days the pain was sharp and sudden, like a cold wind cutting through my heart. Other days it was softer, a dull ache that reminded me of what I had lost. I felt alone, even when friends visited or called. The silence inside me was heavy. I tried to keep busy, to fill the empty spaces with work, reading, and walks. Yet no matter how much I distracted myself, the pain lingered. It was a constant reminder that things were not the same. That something precious had broken. At night, the silence became louder. The walls seemed to close in, and memories flooded my mind. I remembered the laughter we shared, the plans we made, and the promises that now felt broken. It was hard to let go of the past. When it lived so vividly in my heart, sometimes I cried quietly, alone in the dark. Tears helped release some of the sadness, but they did not wash it all away. I learned that pain is not something you can rush. It is a process, slow and sometimes painful. I also felt anger. Anger at the situation, at John, and at myself. Why? Had things gone wrong? Could I have done something differently? These questions kept coming back, like a broken record, but I knew that anger was not the answer. It only made the pain heavier. Instead, I tried to focus on understanding and acceptance. To accept that some things are out of my control. To accept that healing takes time. During this time, I found small moments of comfort. A warm cup of tea in the morning, a kind word from a friend, the gentle touch of sunlight on my face. These small things reminded me that life still held beauty. Even in difficult times, I also started to practice patience with myself. I stopped expecting to feel better right away. I allowed myself to feel the pain without judgment. It was okay to be sad. It was okay to miss what was lost. To my dear listener, if you are carrying pain in your heart, know that you are not alone. Pain is part of being human. It shows that you care deeply. It shows that you have loved and been loved. Healing does not mean forgetting or pretending the pain is not there. It means learning to live with it, to find peace even when the heart is heavy. Take your time. Be gentle with yourself. There is no right or wrong way to heal. Remember, the pain may stay for a while, but it will not last forever. With time, it will soften and become a part of your story, not the whole story. I still feel the pain sometimes, but I also feel hope. Hope that one day, the hurt will fade into something softer. Something that teaches me strength and resilience. This chapter of my journey is not easy, but it is important. It is a time of growth, of learning, and of preparing for what comes next. As I move forward, I carry the pain with me, but I also carry hope in my heart. Sometimes, when the evening light grows soft and the world becomes quiet, I find myself missing the past. I miss the times when life felt simple and full of hope. The memories come like gentle waves, washing over me with both warmth and sadness. I think about the days when John and I laughed together without worry. We shared dreams and plans, believing that nothing could break us. The house was filled with music, and every corner held a story of joy. Those moments seem far away now, like a beautiful dream that I cannot reach. I miss the comfort of routine, the way our days flowed with a gentle rhythm. Morning coffee shared at the kitchen table, walks in the park, and quiet evenings watching the stars. These small things once felt ordinary, but now I see how precious they were. Remembering the past makes me smile and cry at the same time. It is like holding a fragile flower that is both beautiful and delicate. I treasure the memories, but they also remind me of what has changed. I realize that missing the past is a natural part of healing. It means that I cared deeply. It means that I had happiness worth remembering. But it also means that I must learn to live in the present, even when it is difficult. Some days, the past feels like a warm blanket, wrapping me in safety. Other days, it feels like a chain that holds me back. I know that I cannot live there forever. I must find a way to carry the good memories without being trapped by them. To help with this, I started to create new routines. I found joy in small things like tending to a little garden on my balcony or cooking new recipes. These acts gave me a sense of purpose and helped me feel connected to life again. I also began to open my heart to new possibilities. It was not easy, and sometimes fear stopped me. But I reminded myself that the future could hold happiness too. That I could build new memories that would one day bring me comfort. Talking to friends about my feelings was another important step. They listened without judgment and shared their own stories of loss and healing. Their support reminded me that I am not alone on this journey. Sometimes, I write letters to my past self. I tell her that it is okay to feel lost and sad, that she is stronger than she knows. Writing these letters helps me say goodbye to some of the pain and say hello to hope. To my dear listener, if you miss the past, know that your feelings are real and important. It is natural to long for the good times and to grieve what is lost. But also remember that your story is still being written. You have the power to create new moments of joy and peace. You can carry the love and lessons from your past while stepping bravely into the future. Healing is not about forgetting. It is about finding a balance between honoring the past and embracing the present. Take small steps every day. Find comfort in the memories, but also look for new reasons to smile. You are allowed to miss what was and to hope for what will be. As I continue my journey, I carry the past gently in my heart. It shapes me, but it does not define me. I am learning to live fully in the present. With all its challenges and gifts, I believe that someday, when I look back, I will see how far I have come, and I will feel grateful for every step of the journey, even the hardest ones. In the quiet moments of my healing journey, I realized something important. I needed to talk. I needed to share my feelings, my fears, and my hopes with someone who would listen without judgment. That someone was my dear friend, Emma. Emma has been in my life for many years. She knows me well, yet she always listens with fresh understanding. One afternoon, feeling the weight of loneliness, I called her. Her warm voice on the other end of the line was like a small light in the darkness. We decided to meet at a cozy cafe, a place filled with soft light and comforting smells. As I sat across from her, I felt the first stirrings of relief. I began to speak, slowly at first, then with more courage. I told her about the pain that stayed, about missing the past, and about my fear of what the future might hold. Emma listened carefully. She did not interrupt or offer quick answers. Instead, she gave me space to express myself. Sometimes she nodded softly. Other times, she held my hand, silently offering support. Talking to Emma was like opening a window in a stuffy room. Fresh air came in, and with it, a new sense of hope. I realized that sharing my story did not make me weak. It made me stronger. She reminded me that healing is not a straight path. It is full of ups and downs. Some days are better than others, and that is okay. She told me that it is important to be patient and kind to myself. Emma shared her own stories of struggle and growth. Hearing her experiences made me feel less alone. It showed me that pain and healing are universal parts of life. We talked about trust, betrayal, and forgiveness. Emma helped me see that forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing hurt. It is about freeing myself from the burden of anger and pain. Her words stayed with me. I began to understand that forgiving John, and even forgiving myself, could be steps toward peace. After our conversation, I felt a quiet strength growing inside me. It was not loud or sudden. It was gentle, like the first rays of dawn breaking through the night. I also learned the value of connection. When we share our pain with others, we open the door to healing. We remind ourselves that we are not alone. Even in our darkest moments. To my dear listener, if you are struggling, I encourage you to reach out. Find someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a counselor. Speak your truth. Let your heart be heard. You do not have to carry your pain alone. Sharing it can lighten the load and help you see a path forward. Remember, healing is a journey, and it is okay to ask for help along the way. Sometimes a kind word or a listening ear is the most powerful medicine. Since that day with Emma, I have made it a habit to connect regularly with friends. Their support has been a balm to my soul. I have also learned to listen more deeply, not only to others but to myself. My feelings matter. My voice matters. This chapter of my story reminds me that we are stronger together. Even when life feels overwhelming, the kindness of others can help us stand tall. As I continue to heal, I carry Emma's words in my heart. They are a reminder that hope and healing are possible, even after great pain. Saying goodbye was one of the hardest moments of my journey. It was not just a simple farewell. It was a deep emotional release. I had to say goodbye to a person, a dream, and a part of my life that I once held so close to my heart. I remember the quiet morning when I made this decision. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting soft light through the window. I sat alone with my thoughts, feeling the weight of what was to come. I knew that holding on any longer would only cause more pain. Saying goodbye was not about anger or bitterness. It was about acceptance and peace. It was a way to free myself from the past and open a space for new beginnings. I thought about John, the man I once trusted deeply, the man who had become a source of pain. I realized that to move forward, I needed to let go of him in my heart. Not to forget him, but to release the hold he had on my emotions. I also said goodbye to the dreams we shared. Dreams of a happy family, of growing old together, of building a life filled with love and trust. Those dreams had been shattered, but I chose to honor them by learning from their loss. The process was slow. Each day, I found the courage to say a little more goodbye. A goodbye to old habits, to memories that hurt, and to the hopes that know longer serve me. I found comfort in writing letters that I never sent. Letters filled with my feelings, my sorrow, and my hopes. Writing helped me speak the words I could not say out loud. It helped me find clarity and strength. Saying goodbye also meant forgiving myself. Forgiving myself for the mistakes I made, for the times I ignored the signs, and for the moments I doubted my own worth. I learned that forgiveness is a gift I give to myself. It is not about excusing the hurt, but about freeing my heart from the burden of blame and regret. To my dear listener, if you are facing the need to say goodbye, know that it is okay to feel sadness and loss. It is okay to mourn what was and what might have been, but also remember that saying goodbye can be an act of love. Love for yourself and your future. It is a step toward healing and growth. A step toward reclaiming your power and your peace. After saying goodbye, I felt a mixture of sadness and relief. The pain did not disappear overnight, but there was a new lightness in my heart. I began to see myself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a survivor. A woman who had faced hardship and chosen to rise above it. I found strength in small things, a deep breath, a kind word, a gentle smile. These moments reminded me that life goes on and that I have the power to shape my own story. Saying goodbye was a turning point. It marked the end of a difficult chapter and the beginning of a new one. As I walked forward, I carried the lessons of the past with me. Lessons of love, loss, courage, and hope. I also carried a quiet promise to myself to be gentle, patient, and kind as I continued to heal. This chapter of my journey was not easy, but it was necessary. It was a moment of courage, clarity, and love. I invite you, dear listener, to find your own way to say goodbye, to release what holds you back, and to open your heart to new possibilities. Remember, saying goodbye is not the end. It is a new beginning. Being alone is something I never expected to feel so deeply. After all the noise, the arguments, and the confusion, the silence came like a heavy wave. It was both frightening and strange. I was alone now. No one was around to share my days, my thoughts, or my fears. At first, the quiet felt empty and cold. The house seemed larger without their voices. The familiar routines were broken. I missed the laughter and even the small annoyances that used to fill my life. Being alone made me feel vulnerable in a way I had never known. But as the days passed, something shifted inside me. The loneliness began to soften. I started to notice the stillness around me not as empty but as peaceful. I found myself listening more carefully to the sounds of the wind, the birds outside, and even my own breathing. Being alone gave me space. Space to think, to breathe, and to feel. For the first time in a long time, I could hear my own voice clearly. It was gentle but strong. It whispered truths I had forgotten. I am enough. I am whole. I am capable. I began to enjoy simple moments alone. A cup of tea in the morning, the warmth of sunlight on my face, the pages of a good book. These small things became comforts, like old friends welcoming me home. I also used this time to reflect. I thought about who I was before the pain, before the betrayal. I remembered my dreams, my passions, and my strength. Being alone was not about being lonely. It was about reconnecting with myself. Of course, some days were harder than others. The silence sometimes echoed with memories I wished I could forget. The ache of missing family was sharp. But I learned to sit with those feelings without fear. I allowed myself to feel sadness and loss without judgment. I reached out to new hobbies that I had always wanted to try. Painting, journaling, and walking in nature became part of my daily life. These activities brought joy and helped me heal. 1. Afternoon, while walking through a quiet park, I noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the trees. The beauty of that moment filled me with a quiet hope. It reminded me that even in solitude there is life and growth. Being alone now was teaching me something important. It was teaching me that I could stand on my own, that I did not need anyone else to feel complete. I could be my own companion and friend. To my dear listener, if you find yourself alone, I want you to know that this time can be precious. It is a chance to listen to your own heart and to nurture your soul. Do not fear the silence. Instead, use it to find peace within yourself. You are stronger than you realize. Remember, being alone does not mean you are lonely. It can be a powerful step toward healing and self-discovery. I am learning to be gentle with myself in this quiet time. I give myself permission to rest, to cry, and to grow. I find strength in the stillness. I find courage in the calm. I find love in my own heart. This chapter of my story is one of solitude and strength. It is a time of healing and hope. As I continue on this journey, I carry with me the knowledge that being alone can be beautiful. It is not an end, but a new beginning. I'm not the same woman I was before. The experiences I have faced changed me deeply. Some changes are quiet and subtle. Others are bold and clear. But all of them have shaped who I am today. When I look in the mirror, I see more than just my reflection. I see a woman who has been tested by life and has grown stronger. The pain, the betrayal, and the loneliness did not break me. Instead, they built a new foundation inside me. I am different because I have learned to trust myself again. I listen to my own voice, not just the voices of others. I understand my feelings better. I know what I need and what I want. This is a powerful change. Before, I was often afraid to speak up. I worried about hurting others or causing conflict. I wanted to keep peace at all costs. Now I realize that my peace comes first. I have the right to protect my heart. I am more patient with myself now. I do not rush to fix everything or be perfect. I allow myself to make mistakes and learn from them. This kindness to myself is new and precious. I have also grown more careful with whom I trust. Trust is a gift I do not give lightly anymore. I watch for signs and listen to my instincts. Trust is earned, not given freely. One of the biggest changes is how I handle pain. Before, I tried to hide it or ignore it. Now I face it head on. I cry when I need to. I talk about my feelings. I do not let pain control me, but I also do not run from it. This honesty with myself brings healing. It allows me to move forward with a clear heart and open mind. I also see the world differently. I appreciate small moments of joy. A kind smile from a stranger, the warmth of sunlight, or the sound of birds singing. These simple gifts remind me that life is beautiful even in hard times. I have learned to forgive, not to forget what happened, but to free myself from anger and bitterness. Forgiveness is for me, not for others. It is a way to lighten my heart and find peace. Another change is my sense of independence. I am proud to stand on my own 2 feet. I no longer rely on others to define my happiness or success. I create my own path and follow it with confidence. Sometimes I feel a quiet strength inside me, like a flame that never goes out. It is the strength that comes from surviving, from loving myself, and from choosing to live fully. I am not the same woman who once doubted her worth. I'm not the same woman who felt lost and alone. I am someone new, someone brave and whole. To you, dear listener, if you are going through change, remember this: change can be hard, but it can also be beautiful. It can teach us who we truly are. Do not be afraid to embrace the new you. You are growing, healing, and becoming stronger every day. Encourage you to look in the mirror and see the brave person looking back. Honor your journey and celebrate your progress. Remember that it is okay to feel unsure sometimes. Growth is not always easy, but every step forward is a victory. I am grateful for the woman I have become. She carries scars, yes, but also courage, wisdom, and hope. She smiles with quiet confidence. She faces each day with open arms. She lives with a heart full of love for herself and for life. This new version of me is not perfect, but she is real. She is powerful. She is free. Sometimes, when the nights feel very dark, a small light can make all the difference. That small light is a symbol of hope. It is quiet, gentle, and sometimes hard to see. But it is there, shining just enough to guide the way. After all the pain and loneliness, I began to notice this small light in my life. It started as a feeling deep inside me, a tiny spark that said, things can get better. At first, I was not sure if it was real or just a wish. But I decided to follow it. The small light gave me hope when I felt hopeless. It gave me strength when I felt weak. It showed me that I was not alone, even if I was by myself. I remember one afternoon when I was sitting by the window.
The sky
Was gray and the rain was falling softly. I felt sad and tired, but then a single ray of sunlight broke through the clouds. It lit up the room in a warm, golden glow. That ray of sunlight was my small light. It reminded me that after every storm, the sun will shine again. Life has ups and downs, but there is always a chance for new beginnings. I started to look for other small lights in my daily life. A kind word from a neighbor, a smile from a stranger, the gentle touch of my own hand reminding me that I am alive and cared for. These little moments began to fill me with hope and peace. I realized that happiness does not always come in big, dramatic events. Sometimes it is found in small, quiet moments. The small light also helped me to forgive. Forgiving does not mean forgetting or accepting bad things. It means freeing yourself from the weight of anger and hurt. When I forgave, I felt lighter. The small light inside me grew stronger. I could breathe more easily. I could smile more often. Hope is not always easy to find. Sometimes it hides behind fear and sadness. But the small light is patient. It waits quietly until we are ready to see it. I began to take better care of myself. I ate healthy food, walked outside, and rested when I needed to. Taking care of my body helped my mind and heart feel stronger. I also started to write in a journal. Writing down my thoughts and feelings made me understand myself better. It helped me see the small light shining through my words. At night, when I felt alone, I would close my eyes and imagine that small light growing inside me. It filled me with warmth and calm. To you, dear listener, if you feel lost or in the dark, look for your small light. It might be hidden in a kind word, a gentle moment, or a hopeful thought. Do not be afraid to hold on to that light, no matter how small it seems. It can grow and guide you through difficult times. Remember, hope is a powerful force. It can heal wounds and open new doors. It can bring peace to a restless heart. I want you to know that even in your darkest moments, a small light is waiting. For you, it is your strength, your courage, and your love. Cherish that light and let it lead you forward. You are stronger than you think. You are never truly alone. This small light changed my life. It showed me that pain does not last forever, that there is always a chance to heal and to love again. I carry that light with me now. It is a part of who I am. It is a reminder that every day is a new beginning. With hope in my heart, I look to the future. I know that no matter what happens, I can find the light inside me. Beginning again is never easy. It means leaving behind what we know, even if it is painful, and stepping into something unknown. For me, starting over was both scary and hopeful. It was a chance to rebuild my life, piece by piece, with care and love. After the storm of my family's betrayal and my own sadness, I realized that I had the power to choose what comes next. I could let the past hold me down, or I could stand up and move forward. I chose to begin again. The first days of my new beginning were quiet. I took small steps. I made a plan to care for myself in ways I had forgotten. I slept more, ate healthier food, and spent time outside. Nature's fresh air and the soft sunlight helped me feel alive again. I started to wake up each morning with a gentle intention. I told myself, today I will be kind to myself. This simple thought became my guide. It reminded me that healing takes time and patience. I also began to create new routines. Routines gave me structure and comfort. I started reading books I had always wanted to read. I listened to music that lifted my spirit. I wrote in my journal every evening, writing down my feelings and my hopes. These small actions helped me feel grounded. They made me realize that I was not just surviving, I was beginning to live again. I found joy in simple things. A warm cup of tea in the morning, the soft sound of birds singing outside my window, the feeling of clean sheets on my bed. These small moments filled my heart with peace. Starting again also meant opening my heart to new possibilities. I slowly began to reconnect with friends I had lost touch with. I reached out to neighbors and joined a local community group. Being around kind, caring people reminded me that I was not alone. Sometimes beginning again brought fear. Fear of failure, fear of being hurt again. But I learned to welcome these fears without letting them stop me. I saw fear as a sign that I was growing and changing. I learned to celebrate small victories. Every day that I got out of bed and faced the world was a victory. Every kind word I spoke to myself was a victory. Every moment of peace was a victory. I began to believe in myself again. I saw that I was capable of creating a life filled with love, hope, and joy. This belief became the foundation of my new beginning. I also set new goals for myself. These goals were not about impressing others or meeting expectations. They were about what made me happy and fulfilled. I dreamed of traveling to new places, learning new skills, and helping others in need. Beginning again was not about forgetting the past. It was about learning from it and using those lessons to build a better future. I forgive myself for the mistakes I made. I accept my imperfections. I embrace my strength and my vulnerability. All of these parts make me who I am. To you, dear listener. If you are starting over, remember that it is okay to take your time. Healing is not a race. It is a journey. Be gentle with yourself. Celebrate every small step forward. Trust that you have the strength to begin again. No matter how many times it takes, your new beginning is a gift. It is a chance to grow, to heal, and to live fully. I promise you, there is beauty in starting over. There is hope in every new day. So, take a deep breath, look ahead, and begin again. Your story is not finished. The best is yet to come. After I began to heal and build my new life, he tried to come back. It was a moment I did not expect, and it brought a mix of feelings: confusion, anger, hope, and caution. His return was like a shadow from my past, reaching into my present. I remember the day clearly. I was sitting in my favorite chair, reading a book, when the doorbell rang. My heart skipped a beat. When I opened the door, there he was, standing quietly, looking tired, but hopeful. He said he wanted to talk. He said he missed me. He said he was sorry for the pain he caused. His voice was soft, almost like a whisper, but it carried years of regret. I listened carefully. Part of me wanted to believe him. Part of me wanted to trust again, but another part held back. I knew that trust had been broken, and it would take time to heal. He explained why he left. He told me about his own fears and mistakes. He said he had been wrong and wanted a second chance. I could see the pain in his eyes. It was real, but so was the hurt he caused me. I did not say yes or no. I told him I needed time to think. I told him I was not the same person he had left behind. I was stronger now. I was learning to stand on my own feet. His return forced me to face many questions. Could I forgive him? Could I trust him again? Did I want him in my life? I spent many nights thinking about these questions. Sometimes tears came. Sometimes anger rose. Sometimes I felt peace. My heart was a storm of emotions. I talked to friends about what to do. Their advice was kind but honest. They told me to protect myself and listen to my feelings. They reminded me that my happiness mattered most. I also listened to my own heart. It told me to be careful but open. It told me that forgiveness was a gift for myself, not just for him. It told me that healing was a journey, not a destination. When we met again, I looked at him with new eyes. I saw the man who made mistakes, but also the man who wanted to change. I saw someone who needed forgiveness, but also someone who needed to earn trust. He promised to be patient. He promised to respect my boundaries. He promised to show me through actions, not just words, that he had changed. I decided to take small steps. I agreed to meet and talk, but not to rush anything. I set clear limits for myself. I said what I would accept and what I would not. Those meetings were not easy. Sometimes old wounds opened. Sometimes memories flooded back. Sometimes I wanted to run away, but sometimes I felt a spark of hope. Sometimes I saw kindness in his eyes. Sometimes I felt a connection that reminded me of the good times we shared. I learned that healing a broken relationship is complicated. It requires courage, honesty, and patience. It requires two people willing to try, but also respect for the one who was hurt. I also learned that I have the power to choose. I do not have to accept pain again. I do not have to close my heart forever. I can decide what is best for me. To you, dear listener. If someone from your past tries to come back, remember to listen to your heart and protect your peace. It is okay to say no. It is okay to say yes slowly. Trust is like a delicate flower. It needs time, care, and patience to bloom again. Do not rush the process. Do not ignore your feelings. You are worthy of love and respect. You deserve happiness and peace. Sometimes people return to show us what we have learned. Sometimes they remind us of what we want and what we do not want. The choice is yours. You are the author of your story. You have the strength to say what you need and to live your truth. In my story, his return was a test. A challenge that helped me grow even stronger. A moment that showed me how far I had come. No matter what happens next, I know one thing. Not the same person I was before. I am wiser, stronger, and ready for whatever life brings. I am different now. I feel it deep inside. The woman I was before, the one who doubted herself and feared the future, has changed. I have grown through pain and struggle, and I am not the same person anymore. Change does not happen overnight. It is slow, like the steady flow of a river carving its path through the land. My journey was long and difficult, but it brought me wisdom and strength. I used to believe that I needed others to complete me. I thought my happiness depended on their approval and love. But now I know that true happiness comes from within. It is a light that shines from the inside out. I see myself more clearly. I understand my worth and my limits. I know that I am enough, just as I am. This new understanding has given me peace. One no longer seeks validation from those who do not appreciate me. I no longer tolerate disrespect or betrayal. I have learned to set boundaries. Saying no is no longer frightening. It is an act of self-respect. I protect my heart carefully. Like a gardener tending a precious flower. My emotions are still real and strong. Sometimes sadness visits me. Sometimes loneliness knocks on my door, but I do not fear these feelings anymore. I welcome them as part of life's rich tapestry. I have learned to sit with my emotions, to understand their message, and to let them pass gently like clouds in the sky. I also see the power in forgiveness, not just forgiving others but forgiving myself. I release the heavy burden of guilt and regret. I accept my mistakes as lessons, not failures. With this freedom, I breathe more deeply. I smile more often. I enjoy moments of quiet and joy. My past is a part of me, but it does not define me. I carry the memories and the pain, but I also carry the hope and the dreams. I am learning to trust again, trust in myself and in life. This trust is different now. It is not blind or naive. It is cautious but open. It is strong but gentle. I have discovered new passions and interests. I take time to explore the world around me with curiosity. I find beauty in small things, a blooming flower, a kind word, a peaceful sunset. These moments remind me that life is precious and worth living fully. I also feel a new sense of courage. I am not afraid to stand up for myself. I speak my truth with calm and confidence. I do not shrink in the face of challenges. This courage does not come from being fearless. It comes from facing fears and choosing to move forward anyway. I have built a new foundation for my life, one based on self-love, respect, and hope. This foundation supports me in ways I never imagined possible. To you, dear listener, if you are on a journey of change, know that you are not alone. Change is hard, but it is also beautiful. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate every small step forward. Remember that you are growing into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. It is okay to feel lost sometimes. It is okay to cry. It is okay to ask for help. These are signs of strength, not weakness. Your story is unfolding, and every chapter brings new lessons and new hope. You are becoming who you are meant to be, whole, brave, and free. Take a moment now to breathe deeply. Feel the strength inside you. Know that you are different now, and that difference is a gift. You have survived. You have grown. You are ready for what comes next. Choosing myself was the most important decision I ever made. It was not easy. For many years, I put others first. I tried to fix problems that were not mine. I tried to please people who did not see my worth. But now everything has changed. I have learned that self-love is not selfish. It is necessary. It is the foundation of a happy and healthy life. When I choose myself, I am saying yes to my dreams, my needs, and my happiness. This choice means I am no longer afraid to say no. No to demands that hurt me. No to relationships that drain me. No to fears that hold me back. Choosing myself means listening to my heart and trusting my inner voice. It means honoring my feelings and respecting my boundaries. It means giving myself permission to rest, to heal, and to grow. I remember the moment I made this choice. It was quiet and simple, but it changed everything. I was sitting alone in my garden, feeling the sun on my face and the earth under my feet. I realized I had the power to decide how I want to live. I thought about all the times I gave away my energy, my time, and my love without receiving the same in return. I thought about the pain I carried and the hope I lost. Then I said to myself, I choose me. I will care for myself. I will be my own best friend. From that day, I began to put myself first, not in a selfish way, but in a kind and gentle way. I started small. I made time for quiet moments. I took walks in nature. I read books that inspired me. I practiced saying no without guilt. Each step was a victory. Choosing myself also meant forgiving those who hurt me. Forgiveness freed me from the chains of anger and bitterness. It opened my heart to healing and peace. It was not easy to forgive. Sometimes I had to remind myself that forgiveness is for me, not for them. It is a gift I give myself to feel lighter and freer. When I chose myself, I also began to dream again. I remembered the things that made my heart sing. I set new goals and plans for my future. I am not waiting for someone else to make me happy. I am creating my own happiness. This choice gave me confidence. I feel stronger and more certain of who I am. I stand tall, knowing that I am worthy of love and respect. To you, dear listener, if you feel lost or overwhelmed, I want you to know that you have the power to choose yourself too. It is never too late to start. You deserve kindness from yourself and from others. You deserve to live a life that feels good in your heart. Start with small acts of love. Say no when you need to. Speak kindly to yourself. Take care of your body and mind. Remember, choosing yourself is not about being alone. It is about being true to who you are. It is about creating a life that honors your dreams and your spirit. You are worthy. You are important. You are enough. When I chose myself, I opened the door to a new world, a world filled with hope, peace, and joy. And I know that this world is waiting for you too. So take a deep breath now. Feel the strength inside you. Know that you can choose yourself today, tomorrow, and every day after. You are the most important person in your life. Treat yourself with love. You are worth it. A new day has come. It feels different. There is calm in the air and peace in my heart. After all the pain and struggle, I can finally breathe freely. I open my eyes and see the sunlight gently filling the room. It is soft and warm, like a quiet promise of hope. This new day is not just a date on the calendar. It is a symbol of my journey. A journey from sadness to healing, from fear to courage, from doubt to strength. I have survived. I have grown. And now I am ready to live fully again. I smile not because I have forgotten the past, but because I have survived it. The memories are still there, like old photographs in a box. Sometimes I look at them with a gentle sadness. Other times, I see the lessons they taught me, but I do not let the past control me anymore. I carry it with grace, like a traveler carrying a small but important bag. It is part of my story, but it is not all of me. Today, I choose to focus on the present. I choose to be grateful for the little things, the soft breeze, the smell of coffee, the sound of birds outside my window. These simple moments bring joy. They remind me that life is beautiful, even after pain. I take a deep breath and feel the strength in my body. I know I am not perfect, and that is okay. Perfection is not my goal. My goal is to be kind to myself and to live honestly. This new day also means new possibilities. I have ideas and dreams that I did not dare to speak before. Now I write them down. I make small plans. I take quiet steps forward. I am learning to be patient with myself. Growth takes time, like a tree growing strong roots before reaching the sky. Some days are easy and some days are hard. But every day is a chance to try again. I look at my reflection in the mirror. I see a woman who has been through storms and is still standing. Her eyes shine with quiet wisdom. Her smile is soft but real. This woman is me. I am proud of how far I have come. I am proud of the courage it took to keep moving. I am proud of the love I have for myself now. To you, dear listener, if you are facing hard times, I want you to know that a new day can come for you too. It may not come quickly or easily, but it will come. Hold on to hope, even when it feels small. Trust that healing is possible. Believe in the strength inside you. Take small steps each day. Notice the beauty around you. Celebrate every moment of peace. No matter how brief, you are stronger than you think. You are worthy of happiness. You are not alone. As the sun rises higher, I feel a quiet joy. It is a gentle light inside me that no one can take away. This new day is a gift. I will cherish it. I will live it with courage and kindness. And I will remember that every day is a new chance to grow, to love, and to be free. Saying thank you has become an important part of my life. It is more than just words. It is a feeling deep inside my heart. I have learned that gratitude is a powerful tool. It changes how I see the world and how I feel about myself. For a long time, I was focused on what was wrong. I saw pain, loss, and betrayal. I felt hurt and alone. But slowly, I began to notice the good things too. Small acts of kindness, moments of peace, and people who cared. Thank you is a way to honor these moments. It is a way to say, I see you, I appreciate you. When I say thank you, I am reminding myself that even in darkness, there is light. I remember the first time I truly felt this. It was after a long day full of difficult emotions. I sat quietly and thought about all the little things that helped me get through. The warm cup of tea in the morning, the soft blanket on a cold night, the smile of a stranger passing by. I whispered, thank you, to each of these moments. At first, it felt strange, but then it felt good. It felt like my heart was opening, saying, thank you also helped me forgive. When I was angry or sad, it was hard to let go. But finding something to be grateful for made the pain lighter. It gave me strength to move forward. I say thank you to myself every day now. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for choosing to heal. I also say thank you to the people who have stayed with me, my friends who listened, my family who cared, even when things were hard. People who show kindness in unexpected ways, even to those who hurt me. I find a way to say thank you. Thank you for teaching me lessons about trust and boundaries. Thank you for helping me grow stronger. Gratitude is not about forgetting the pain. It is about finding balance. It is about seeing both the good and the bad and knowing that both have shaped who I am. To you, dear listener, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for listening to my story. Thank you for opening your heart to mine. If you are struggling, try to find one thing to be thankful for today. It could be as simple as the sun shining or the breath in your lungs. These small things can make a big difference. Remember, gratitude is a choice. It is a practice. It does not mean that life is perfect, but it means that you choose to see the beauty in the imperfect. When I say thank you, I feel lighter. I feel more connected to the world and to myself. I feel hope. This hope is a quiet promise. It tells me that no matter what happens, I have the power to find joy and peace. Thank you has become a new way of living. It is a way to heal old wounds and build new happiness. I am grateful for my journey, for the pain and the healing, for the tears and the smiles. Thank you for teaching me to be brave. Thank you for helping me love myself. Thank you, life, for this new day. Forgiving myself was not easy. For many years, I carried heavy feelings of guilt and regret. I thought about the mistakes I made and the things I wished I had done differently. These thoughts weighed on my heart like a heavy stone. They kept me from moving forward, but one day I realized that holding on to this pain was hurting me more than anyone else. I was punishing myself for things I could not change. I was trapped in a cycle of blame and sadness. I wanted to break free. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not saying that what happened was okay. It is not pretending the pain never existed. Forgiving myself meant accepting that I am human, that I make mistakes, that I am learning every day. I began by looking inside and speaking kindly to myself. I said, I am doing my best. I said, I am worthy of love and kindness. These words were hard to say at first. But slowly they became true. I remembered that every person makes mistakes. No one is perfect. What matters is how we grow from those mistakes. What matters is that we try again and do better next time. Sometimes I wrote letters to myself. I wrote about my feelings and my regrets. Then I wrote words of forgiveness and hope. These letters helped me see my pain in a new way. They helped me heal. I also talked to close friends. They listened without judgment. They reminded me that I am not alone. Their support gave me strength. Forgiving myself changed how I saw my past. I stopped blaming myself for things I could not control. I stopped feeling ashamed for choices I made with the knowledge I had at the time. I learned to accept my story, both the good and the bad. This acceptance was freeing. It was like a heavy weight lifting from my shoulders. When I forgave myself, I could finally move forward. I could open my heart to new possibilities. I could live with more peace. Forgiveness is a journey, not a one-time event. Some days, old feelings come back. But now I know how to handle them. I remind myself that it is okay to feel pain. But I also remind myself to be gentle and patient. To you, dear listener, if you carry guilt or regret, I want you to know that forgiveness is possible. It starts with small steps. It starts with kindness toward yourself. Try to speak to yourself as you would to a good friend. Offer comfort and understanding. Remember that your mistakes do not define you. Your courage to forgive yourself does. Forgiving yourself is a gift. It is a gift of freedom. It is a gift that allows you to live fully and happily. I am still learning this every day. But with each step, I feel lighter and stronger. I forgive myself for the times I was afraid. I forgive myself for the times I was wrong. I forgive myself for the times I did not know better. And I promise to love myself through it all. Forgiving myself was one of the greatest acts of courage I have ever done. It opened the door to healing and hope. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you find peace and forgiveness in your own heart. Freedom is a feeling I never thought I would know again. For so long, I felt trapped by pain, by fear, by what others thought of me, but now I am free. Free in a way that touches my heart and soul deeply. I remember the first moment I felt this. Freedom. It was early in the morning, the sun was just rising. I stepped outside barefoot, feeling the cool grass beneath my feet. The air was fresh and clean. I breathed deeply and smiled. In that moment, I realized that freedom is not about where you live or what you own. It is about how you feel inside. It is about the peace that grows when you let go of anger and fear. I have walked a long road to get here. There were times when I felt lost and alone. Times when I wanted to give up. But I kept moving forward. I kept believing that one day I would find this peace. Freedom means different things to different people. For me, it means living without fear. It means making choices that honor who I am. It means saying no when I need to, and yes to new beginnings. I have learned to listen to my heart, to trust myself, to walk my own path, even if it is different from what others expect. Dancing barefoot in my garden is one of my favorite ways to feel free. When I dance, I feel alive. I feel connected to the earth and to my own spirit. The worries and pain fall away. I am just me, moving with joy and strength. Freedom also means forgiving others and myself. It means releasing the past and living in the present. It means knowing that I am enough just as I am. I have found joy in small things. The sound of birds singing, the warmth of sunlight on my skin, the kindness of a stranger's smile. These moments remind me that life is beautiful. Being free has changed how I see the world. I am more patient, more open, more loving. I want to share this feeling with others who may still feel trapped. If you feel weighed down by sadness or fear, know that freedom is possible. It starts inside. It begins with a small step, perhaps a deep breath, a quiet walk, or a kind word to yourself. Try to imagine what freedom would feel like for you. What would you do? How would you live?
Hold on.
To that feeling and let it guide you. Remember, freedom does not mean you will never face challenges. But it means you have the power to choose how you respond. You can choose peace over fear, love over anger. I am free because I chose to be. Because I chose to heal. Because I chose to love myself. This freedom is a gift I give to myself every day. And I want you to know that you can have this gift too. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it brings you hope and courage to find your own freedom. Knowing who I am has been the most important journey of my life. For many years, I felt lost. I did not understand myself. I tried to be what others wanted me to be. I changed to fit in. I hid my true feelings and dreams, but now I know who I am. I have discovered my own strength, my own voice, and my own heart. This knowledge is a light that guides me every day. I am a woman who has faced many challenges. I have experienced pain and betrayal. I have felt loneliness and fear.
But I
Have also found hope, love, and courage. All these parts make me who I am. I am someone who cares deeply. I value honesty and kindness. I am strong but gentle. I am a learner, always growing and changing. I am imperfect, and I accept that. Learning who I am took time and patience. I spent many quiet moments alone, thinking and feeling. I asked myself hard questions. What do I want? What do I need? What makes me happy? Sometimes I did not like the answers. Sometimes I felt afraid of my own feelings. But I kept exploring. I kept listening to my heart. I found that knowing myself means loving myself. It means accepting my past and my mistakes. It means believing I am worthy of good things. When I know who I am, I do not need to hide. I do not need to pretend. I can be honest with myself and others. I can speak my truth gently and clearly. This knowledge gives me confidence. It helps me set boundaries. It helps me say no when something is not right for me. It helps me say yes to opportunities that feel good. Knowing who I am also means understanding my limits. It means being patient with myself. It means asking for help when I need it. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. But now I see these mistakes as chances to learn, not reasons to give up. I am proud of my journey. I'm proud of the woman I have become. To you, dear listener, I want to say this. You are on your own journey to know yourself. It is not always easy. It takes time and courage. But it is worth it. Do not be afraid to explore your heart. Do not be afraid to be yourself. You have so much value, even if you do not always see it. Take time to listen to your feelings. Write down your thoughts. Talk to someone you trust. Try new things that make you feel alive. Remember that you are not alone. Many people are learning who they are every day. Knowing yourself is the key to living a full and happy life. It is the key to peace and love. It is the key to freedom. I am grateful for this knowledge. It has changed my life. It has given me hope and strength. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to find your own light and to know who you truly are. As I reach the end of my story, I want to share something very important with you. This message comes from my heart. It is a message about hope, strength, and love. It is a message for anyone who feels lost, hurt, or afraid. Life can be difficult. Family can sometimes bring pain instead of comfort. Trust can be broken. Dreams can feel far away. I know this because I have lived it. I have felt the cold silence of betrayal. I have felt the heavy weight of loneliness. I have felt the fear of being forgotten. But I want you to know this. You are not alone. No matter what you face, there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is a strength inside you that is waiting to be found. Do not give up on yourself. Do not believe the voices that tell you that you are not enough. You are more than enough. You have value. Just as you are, healing takes time. It is not a straight path. Sometimes you will take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. That is okay. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Remember to listen to your heart. Your heart knows the way. It will guide you to peace and happiness. If you let it. Trust in your own voice. Speak your truth gently but clearly. Stand up for yourself with kindness and courage. Surround yourself with people who love and support you. Seek friends who listen without judgment. Find comfort in small moments of joy, a warm cup of tea, a quiet walk, the smile of a child. Do not be afraid to ask for help. There is strength in reaching out. There is power in connection. You are not defined by the pain you have suffered. You are defined by how you rise from it. You are defined by your courage to keep going, believe in your dreams, even if they seem far away. Take small steps each day to move closer to them. Love yourself through every part of your journey. Love the parts that are strong and brave. Love the parts that are scared and unsure. Love the parts that are healing. Know that your story matters. Your life matters. You have the power to create a future filled with hope and joy. I have learned all of this through my own journey. It has not been easy. It has taken time and tears. But it has also brought me peace and freedom. Thank you for walking this path with me. Thank you for listening to my story. Before we end, I would love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? What feelings does this story bring to you? Sharing your thoughts can help us all feel connected. If this story has touched your heart, please consider subscribing. Tomorrow I will share something special, just for you. Remember, you are never alone. You are stronger than you know. And you are loved. Take care of yourself and keep moving forward.